Hey guys, Brittany Krause here. I am doing my week 6 tech toolkit for Tech for Teachers. I am going to talk a little bit about some of the readings that we did this week. And I kind of was messing around a little bit on Google Plus this week. I got a chance to kind of experiment with that. I like some of the things that Google is doing with our collaborative papers and all that. It was really interesting. I'm not really 100% sure how I feel about Google Plus. I'm definitely falling out of love with Facebook for a social media site, and I like that Google Plus is a little bit more professional, and it's kind of more based around idea exchange and communication, kind of based around topics, and I like how it was kind of organized. But I didn't necessarily like how people can just add me into their circle without even communicating with me or without my approval. I'm in a couple people's circle and I don't know who they are. It's kind of weird. But, pluses and minuses. I definitely think that, it's probably going to evolve a bit more, and hopefully we'll kind of work out some of those issues. And by the time I get used to it, it'll probably be obsolete and something else will be the new thing. So no big deal. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ito. I found her piece to be very interesting. I really like how she broke down the way that kids are using social media, the internet, and technology for a couple of different ways, and how it's important not to just lump that in. The two kind of terms that she was using was messing around and geeking out. And, I don't know how I feel about her terminology. I think that she brought up a really good point that even, we consider it messing around, but it has a purpose, and the purpose is social interaction and social development, and that's very important for kids. And internet social interaction is kind of the way that social interaction is happening nowadays. So it is very important for kids to be online, experimenting and experiencing what it's like to be in social situations on the internet. And to make mistakes and screw up and, fix them and keep working at it and develop into individuals who know how to use the internet in appropriate ways, and who are fluent in internet. And I thought that was kind of cool. I liked how she was talking about kind of the interest-driven and specialized, sophisticated skills in media, which was more interest-driven, and how it's kind of a smaller percentage of kids that are using the internet for that, but it is very important to foster those skills because it is very important to have children who are able to do that. I mean, those are the future web developers and internet engineers and millions of things that I don't really know about because I don't understand how the internet works, but those kids will and do and can manipulate the information and push out the amazing new tools that we will use in the future. And so even though a lot of what we're thinking children are using the internet for, which is more of the messing around social aspect, it holds a purpose, and not all kids are using it just for that. There's a lot of innovation that's happening. I recently was listening to a podcast where a teacher was talking about the internet games that kids are playing educationally in the classroom, and how teachers are using these new games. And he said that they're essentially worksheets. They're worksheets that grade themselves, and they're differentiated worksheets, which is awesome. Kids are playing the same game at different levels, so they're getting more intellectual stimulation from what they're playing because it's catered to their specific needs, differentiated learning, which is amazing and great and lovely and awesome. But essentially, it is just a glorified worksheet. It's a differentiated, self-grading worksheet. Can be an awesome tool. Teachers are, then able to provide more one-on-one help for students that need. Teachers are, it frees up more time for them to do more research and more readings and pull in other resources instead of sitting at home for 8 hours grading the same worksheet over and over again. Lovely, awesome. But it's also still just a worksheet. It's not innovation. It's not creation. It is just teaching kids mathematical facts, the ABCs, dot, 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 whatever it is you want them to learn. It is not teaching children how to think outside of the box. It is not teaching children how to create new media or, how to utilize their skills in bigger, more broad ways. And so he was kind of shunning the idea of using internet games he was instead choosing to use the internet and technology in his classroom for innovation, which I thought was awesome and amazing, and more power to him. That sounds great. I don't really know enough about the internet and how it works at this stage to be able to say, yeah, I'm going to do that in my classroom. That sounds awesome. But it definitely made me think about some of the tools that are out there for teachers and what they're actually doing. Are they as beneficial as we like to think they are, or are they just saving teachers time? Are they as creative as we like to think they are? Are they, potentially pushing children to think in different, bigger ways? Or are they just pushing the same information that we learned, 20, 30 years ago, but in a different format? I thought those were really kind of interesting points, and it made me look at some of the things that I was reading about and learning about in a different light and a little bit more critically, which I feel like is potentially important. Another thing that I was thinking about with Ito that I found really interesting was she said that it is inappropriate for adults to be interacting with children socially online. And at surface level, I think that I absolutely agree. It seems like children socially interacting online is kind of the same situation that we had in middle school and high school when we did the group hangs. It was, that kind of awkward stage in between thinking the opposite sex has cooties and being, mildly interested by the opposite sex or same sex, depending on sexual orientation. But the idea behind the group hang was that you left, your home or your school and you went somewhere to hang out with a large group of people where you communicated, where you, watched a movie or went out to dinner or walked around the mall, more than likely, whatever the situation was. And that is now happening online. And those social interactions are happening all the time, much more frequently, because kids are online much more frequently. And that it's inappropriate for adults to be involved in that, just as it would have been inappropriate for an adult to be involved in, my group hang when I was 11, 12, or 13 or whatever. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, you're right, Ito. I shouldn't be involved in that because, it's creepy, it's weird, and I don't want to be involved in that. Except when bullying is happening. I don't want to be involved in that except when children are harming or hurting each other. And how do you know when that's happening? And you can't unless you're monitoring. But if you're monitoring, then you're involved. So it all got kind of fuzzy, and I started to overthink things, and I didn't really know. I don't have the answer. I don't know. I don't know how to be there for the bad situations, but leave children alone so that they can explore and communicate and, do their socialization and work all of that out on their own, but also still be here. And I was thinking a lot about, classroom environment, about kind of this idea of a safety net, where you're like, okay, go out, do your own thing, but also I'm here. I'm right here, and if anything happens or something goes wrong or someone says something that you're not comfortable with or someone does something that you're not comfortable with, like, here I am, able to help. How do you get that across in this weird kind of internet world? And a lot of that, I think, just kind of comes down to communication, classroom management, and classroom, social dynamic and social structure, and how you create a community within a classroom. And you have to very explicitly say what's appropriate and what's not, and create an environment where everyone understands those and everyone advocates for each other's safety. And that's tricky. I don't even know how to begin to think of it. It's definitely a lot more than "be kind" written on the blackboard. So I think that's all I have. We're at 10 minutes, and my brain is spinning and reeling. So yeah, just a couple of thoughts on the readings. I look forward to understanding a little bit more about how the internet's being used. I'm really excited to get into the classroom and see how some of this tech is implemented in special education. I'm not sure at Pillsbury what kind of programs they have, but that's where I'm doing my volunteer work at. I know they have a really big science push, so I think that it'll definitely be cool to see the ways that they're using technology for that sort of educational landscape. So yay, very excited. All right, thanks guys so much for stopping by. As always, please get at me with any questions or comments. I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, bye.